All right, we've got Chuck in Honolulu, Hawaii. Thanks for waiting.
Hello.
Hi, Chuck.
Hello.
Hey, Jen, you were talking about bathrooms. Did you know that there's an actual federal law that says women can use men's bathrooms?
I did not know, nor did I particularly care.
Well, just say they keep trying to pass these laws, but there's already a federal law about some of this stuff.
I'll have to look that up. That's kind of curious that there's a federal law that women can use men's bathrooms.
Yeah.
Is there a federal law that men can use women's bathrooms?
No.
Well, that seems like a problem.
I think it comes out of that idea of reporters going into men's locker rooms, in the sports events, because they wouldn't allow the women reporters to go in before.
Oh.
Okay.
Interesting. Oh. What did you have for us?
Well, I wanted to say, I wanted to kind of compliment you guys, because you're really doing a really, really wonderful job for God.
Okay. Which God?
Okay.
Jehovah, the God of the Jews.
So the Jewish God is pleased with me.
Yes.
Why won't he just say so rather than having you call and tell me?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he did. You didn't listen.
How do you know he's pleased?
Well, because Jehovah's a servant, and his idea is to serve people. He doesn't require worship. That's religion that requires worship.
And how do you know this?
Well, it's written in the Bible.
Okay.
Where?
That for one thing. I don't know where.
Oh, you didn't read it yourself?
But, huh?
You didn't read it yourself?
Yeah.
You said
you got it.
You don't know where.
It's easy to look. Well, it's easy to look up these things if you have a computer with Bibles, and you can look up subjects.
Yeah.
Well, you're the one making the claim, so we're just asking you where you found that.
Oh no! I was just saying that the problem is that all you guys hear about God is Christianity.
No, that's
not true.
That's not remotely the case. You do realize that some of the people on the show are Jewish, and that we've engaged with Jews and Muslims and Satanists and Scientologists and yeah,
but it all still comes from their religion.
Okay.
Whatever their religion. Looks like you were talking to that Mormon guy there. Everything he knows about God is from his religion.
So do you know something about God that doesn't come from your religion?
Well, yeah, God's a servant.
How do you know that?
To serve you.
How do you know?
I mean, are we going down the road of the Twilight Zone episode to serve man? Is that what God has? Is that how God wants to serve me? With turnips and potatoes?
No.
Okay, so how do you know what you know, and can you give us a little more clarity on what you know?
Well, he told me for one thing, and it's in the Bible. It's written in the Bible.
Oh, wait.
The Bible's a funny book.
You really skipped over something kind of significant. You just said he told me for one thing. So God told you. How did God tell you?
Well, he talks to me.
Do you hear something audible, or is it just in your head?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't think it's like us talking here, but your thoughts. Your brain's a kind of a funny thing because you have thoughts, but they're not audible.
Okay, so how do you tell which of these thoughts are coming from God?
Well, because if it's true, you can analyze it. It gives you a brain to analyze things.
So you have a thought, and you find out it's true, and then you conclude that thought came from God. Does that mean that your brain can't come up with true thoughts on its own?
No, your brain can analyze things, and your brain can make conclusions and look for truth.
And they can be true, right?
Well, if it's true, yeah.
So the mere fact that a thought your brain had is true doesn't tell you whether or not it came from God. So how do you tell if it comes from a God?
Well, if it's good.
Your brain can't come up with anything good?
Well, sure.
Okay, so your brain on its own can come up with something that's good and true, and your brain can also get thoughts from God that are good and true. But there's no way. How do you tell the difference between whether it's coming from you or from God?
Well, because all good and all truth comes from God.
Well, then, so your brain's not producing goodness or truth.
Well, it can.
Well, if all goodness comes from God, I'm asking. Okay, you just had a thought, and you are convinced that this thought has come from God. How did you reach that conclusion?
Well, if he talks to me, if he tells me something, and if I can analyze it and see that it's good, and if it's true, then I would suppose that it's true.
You just pointed out. Go ahead.
You're not actually making any sense.
Yeah, I know. but well, that's the thing, you know. Nothing really makes any sense here. This whole universe doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that make sense, but
you understand what Jen and I are saying, correct?
Yeah.
So there are things in the universe that make sense.
Well, sure, there's some things that make sense, but most of it doesn't make any sense.
Okay, for the things that don't make any sense, we can just set that aside, because if it doesn't make sense, we can't accept it or believe it or have a position, right? So we're only talking about things that make sense.
No.
No?
If you see something and it works, but it really doesn't make any sense, it's
like
not
what?
logical. Well, like the sun. The sun's up there, 93,000 million miles away or something, and it's this big ball of fire, this gigantic ball of fire in a vacuum. How do you light a fire in a vacuum?
No.
So it's not a ball of fire. Go ahead.
Just because you don't personally understand something doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense or that there's not an explanation. So the sun is not actually a ball of fire in the way you're thinking about it.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay.
It's hydrogen. It's hydrogen burning in oxygen.
No, it's not burning.
Yes, it is. It's an actual fire of hydrogen burning in oxygen.
Okay.
The oxygen and the hydrogen comes up to the surface. It burns just like a candle does.
So
when oxygen goes into a candle.
Where does the oxygen come from?
It comes from inside the sun.
Yeah, what's happening inside? What's happening inside the sun beneath the surface?
Well, it's hot because of the surface is on fire.
Sure.
All the way around the surface is fire.
There's nuclear fusion going on, right?
No, it's not.
The sun isn't. There's no nuclear fusion taking place in the sun.
No.
Yeah, I think
absolutely not, Matt. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I was only going by what the science books and every astrophysicist on the planet would say.
Well, not everyone.
Well, every astrophysicist.
Yeah.
Sun, nuclear fusion. I'm Googling right now to check. So just pulling up the first result, nuclear fusion's reaction. Well, no, we want to get to the actual sun thing. The energy from the sun, both light and heat energy, originates from nuclear fusion. So this is what we're teaching in science classes, and this is what the foundations of stellar physics is about. So you're saying it's wrong?
Well, if it were nuclear fusion, it would be used up. The sun would be burned up a long time ago. How
do you know it'd be burned up a long time ago when what we know from science tells us that it will burn up eventually?
Yeah, but if it's nuclear fusion, it would have.
How long has our sun been burning?
There you go. How long has it been burning? And this nuclear fusion, it would have been used
up
completely.
I'm asking you, how long has it been burning?
Well, science says something like 4 billion years or something, rather.
4.5, whatever. So how much material is there, and when should it have burned out?
Well, it would have burned down to a point to where it wouldn't work anymore.
Based on what?
When should this have happened?
Probably billions of years ago.
Why? Based on, I mean...
Because it's using it up. If it's nuclear fusion.
Yes, we're not disputing that, but we're saying show your work.
Yeah, I mean, all the scientists are saying that it shouldn't have burned up by now, shouldn't have used up its fuel, but it will eventually. Yeah. And you're saying that it should have already happened, and we're wondering, where's your evidence for that? From the guy who said it wasn't fusion 5 minutes ago.
It's not fusion.
Okay.
If it were fusion, it would have burned up a long time ago.
All right.
It would have used,
Chuck,
it can't nuclear fusion can't go for billions of years.
Okay.
It can't do that.
Chuck, assuming Jen's okay with it, we're going to move on to another caller, and you should probably investigate, the findings of science, because if in fact you're correct, you could get a Nobel Prize for debunking this stuff.
No, you couldn't. Look at science.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah,
I agree that you couldn't. But thanks.
The sun is like a match. It's burning.
Yeah. That match that I lit should have burned out instantly. It shouldn't have burned all the way down the stick.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't even know how much material there is.